Hello and welcome to Interactive Distractions, episode number 468. My name is Christopher Keogh and I am here with Travis Ball.
Hello.
Nope, that way. There we go.
That's me.
Okay. I got to figure out how to do this in the camera. I have to learn how to do it. I could do it like that. There we go. Right over there.
This is great for the audio listeners.
Great radio. Great radio. Just me and Travis today. Jason's not feeling well. Jeff had something going on, so we hope that Jason's feeling better. Probably be a little short show. We're going to do some distractions and some news. But first, Travis.
Hey.
As someone who also has a Tesla.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm trading. I think I'm going to trade mine in tomorrow.
Okay, just in time for their value to tank.
Possibly, I don't know, but
yeah, their used market right now is tanking. So Tesla values right now are dropping. So if the sooner the better, unless you want to kind of wait. But I've always viewed Tesla car value as like kind of like cryptocurrency. Like the values were too high. For people to understand, like when you buy a car, like a lot of people like look for like a cool car and everything, but you want to look for is residual value. You want a car that like when it's time to sell it, you're going to be able to sell it for a much, much higher return. So long term, that's what you want to do, right? Tesla's had an extreme resale value, like extreme. If you bought the car for $50K, you're like, it's going to be worth almost as much. Like you could turn around and sell it used probably for more. Because people don't have to wait for shipping.
Maybe
and stuff
right
like that.
out of the gate, but not anymore, right?
Not anymore. But like when I bought my car, like 3 and a half years ago, that was still the case. Like I easily could have bought my Tesla and then turned it around and sold it for a profit. Like easily.
Yeah, when I bought mine in 2018, I probably could have done the same thing.
You for sure could have, because it was taking a year for delivery.
Yeah. So mine is 6 years old now. It's only got about 31,000 miles on it.
Oh, that's great.
Kelly Blue Book values it at almost half its original MSRP, which I think is good at this point. It's a 6-year-old car. So, you know, if I get enough out of it, I'm going to probably trade it in tomorrow, and I might be getting a Blazer EV.
Okay, so you're just upgrading to something bigger, a little spacier.
Just yeah, and it's pretty recent, like it coming out, so a lot of good deals right now. Like they're not making any of them without them being fully loaded. So there's 2 different trims, but all the trims everything they're making is fully loaded for that trim. And then they're basically just all of the prices for all the options, they're just wiping them. So you're basically getting it for unless you got like the sunroof. I think the sunroof is the only thing they still charge you for.
Sure.
But like all of the packages, like all the additional features and stuff, they're just giving that back to you. And then General Motors is actually doing something where the EV credit that you would get, they're just taking it off the top.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it's like right now they're like the dealership up the street from me is running it like 10 grand off. I'm like, oh, okay, then let's see what we could do, you know? So yeah, we're going to look at, we test drove it on, I want to say Wednesday. We test drove it. Crystal liked it. You know, she's not a huge fan of large vehicles, and the Blazer is pretty big.
The same, yeah.
But she said it was comfortable, and she didn't feel like it was so big that she couldn't control it. And she said it responded well to her. So this would be to replace her car essentially. So yeah, that's what we're looking into tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. But that's kind of the new stuff for me.
That sounds good, man.
Yeah.
New cars always exciting. Nothing new with me, man. I need a haircut. I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it until we got on, and I was looking at the camera, and I was like, man,
I just got mine done. You look
clean, man. Nice and clean.
Gone.
I was thinking about things. This is so funny that you did that. I was just thinking about things to discuss on introductions for the show, and I was like, how about I ridicule Chris for keeping his beard for so long and not going back to the classic Riccio goatee? And then you
okay.
pop up and you have it. So I'm happy.
The beard is for November through
Okay.
April. That's the way it works.
I'm the same way with my robe. Like it pretty much stays on.
Yeah, but I actually would have shaved it earlier, but when going to Indiana for the eclipse, I decided to save it until after the eclipse. Just
okay, so it was an eclipse
in case it was
beard.
cold there. Yeah, no, honestly, it just keeps my face warm. It's functional. That's what it was for.
Oh yeah,
but yeah,
gotta keep it hot.
Yep.
Right.
Cool, man. Let's talk some games. What do you got going on?
So we had a little bit of a was it a competition or was it like I don't know. We gave ourselves a challenge. We have our backlog games, and
okay, yeah.
I went ahead and knocked one of mine out. How about that?
Nice. Okay. What did you knock out?
I knocked out Telling Lies. It's the it's the Sam Barlow game. So if you're not familiar with Sam Barlow, his games are basically just interactive novels. There's going to be a lot of full motion video, a lot of actors acting towards the camera. And Telling Lies, as much as I enjoyed it, it just does not hold a candle to its spiritual successor. Immortality is better in every way, every step, every fashion. But I did enjoy Telling Lies for what it was worth, and I'm happy that I went back to it because sometimes it's fun to go back to check out the old stuff of a developer or a movie director or something that you just discovered, and going back and checking out their pedigree. Like if you just discovered Tarantino today, you have so much to go back to and look like that's exciting. No so it's fun. It's fun to be able to go back and I have her story, which I've yet to play, that I'm interested in as well. So I can just jump in and play that. But Telling Lies was pretty good. A depressing story overall, but I will say that I enjoyed it.
Good.
Another thing that I enjoy.
Well, you got one knocked out. You're the first one.
I know. How about that? I was kind of predicting that I was not going to get a single one. So
well,
I'm pretty happy.
It's a good prediction to get wrong.
I'm pretty happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that I haven't messed with any of mine yet. I actually have Valkyria Chronicles 4 sitting over there on the counter waiting to be installed again. So I've been kind of moving between games. I've been just like I'm just trying to get the bravery to put it in there, put it in the disc. Sure. And but because once you start Valkyria, like it's a commitment.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
There's a lot to it. It's a commitment. But actually, one of the things I was talking to Crystal about is I've been thinking that I might try streaming again. But I'll stream Last of Us, and it'll be the first time I played Last of Us 2 and stream that all the way through. So I've been kind of playing with that idea. And then the other one that was on my list, Undertale, is one that Jason and I were going to play together. So just waiting for him to kind of, let me know he's ready to go, because I could probably.
It makes sense to play.
That's a quick burn,
with them.
I think. Yeah, Undertale's a quick burn, so we could probably get through that in like a week or two, and then but yeah, I've got I haven't gotten my new PC set up for streaming yet, but I have a card that I can throw in it, so I could throw the card in there and then stream Last of Us, see how that goes.
I would love for us to get some regular streaming in here.
Yeah, I would probably be thinking about Fridays, actually. Like today is Friday, that's why I say it that way. But Fridays is probably the day I would target.
Okay, sounds good.
But what else is on your plate, man?
Let's see. So Dave the Diver released on PlayStation. This has been out on PC for quite some time, but now it's out on PlayStation. They even released it on PlayStation Plus. So if you're subscribed, you get this game straight up. So it is a fun little game that kind of like scratches those indie itches. It's kind of like a tale of two games. Whereas one half of the game you are the diver and you are, swimming around these kind of, they say that the landscape changes and like the items sprinkled around change. It doesn't feel like it changes, so I wouldn't say this is like a roguelike by any stretch of the imagination, but they do share some like the overall like ability progression. Like they share that with roguelikes. Like you take money, you end your run, and you can put that money towards level ups or, better breathing
Okay.
apparatuses or better harpoon guns and things like that.
Yeah, I
So
get you.
so that's kind of like the general gist, and it's really calming and soothing. And then the other half of the game is you're running a sushi restaurant, so all the fish that you catch goes straight to the sushi restaurant, and
So the
then
ingredients
you
of your sushi, nice.
right, they're the ingredients of your sushi, and then the second half of the game ends up being kind of like this restaurant management sim, and it's
Okay.
and it's crazy fast and hectic. So it's like really a tale of two different experiences, and um, it helps with the gameplay loop to kind of have this drastic shift right in the middle of your loop, because you have three different parts of the day. You have morning, afternoon, and nighttime. And morning and afternoon is when you do your diving, and then nighttime is when the restaurant is opened up. So you kind of have all that time during the day to catch all your fish for the evening, to do any missions, because there's tons of NPCs that approach you over time and throw missions at you. So you have to like do missions for them. And some are timed, some are not. So there's a little bit more of a sense of urgency for some of the missions. So I enjoy it for what it's worth. I don't think I've reached that point where I get with a lot of roguelikes. I think I said Souls like earlier. I apologize, but roguelikes. Is
Oh, you
that
might
like
have. I what you were describing was roguelike to me, so that's what I heard in my head.
right.
So
Um, but I never I don't yet get that. I think I've put in like 3 or 4 hours so far. And apparently this game can be as big and as long as you want to take it.
hmm.
Um, but I'm a few hours in and I've yet to still get that like one more run, like
Yeah.
right at the end of the night. I'm tired, my eyes feel like 5 pound sandbags, and I just want to go to sleep, but I gotta do one more run.
Yeah.
I haven't had
The
I
last
haven't
game the last game to really do that to me was Dead Cells, I think.
which is a great I
Yeah,
think
Dead
it
Cells it just it hit me like
it
that.
did it to everyone.
It hit me like that. Yeah.
You weren't the only one, Chris.
Yeah.
But it is a really really fun game for all intents and purposes. And I'm gonna play a little bit more. I want to see if it's gonna pull me in to where like I just gotta keep playing. I hope it does because I really enjoy what's there so far.
Nice.
Um, so I started off with the good stuff because I'm gonna end up on a downer, Chris.
Uh-oh.
Apologies. So Final Fantasy 16 was
Great.
I think it was great, and I think it
Yes,
was
it
in my
was.
top three for game of the year.
For someone who has not really liked a Final Fantasy since the PS1 days,
Right.
Final Fantasy 16 was great.
Yeah, and they've released two DLCs. The first DLC came out and it was expected to be smaller. I think it was only $10. So I personally didn't have any issue with what we were given for $10.
Okay.
So the Rising Tide released this week. I played all the way through it. Um, this DLC is $20, and I don't think it is anywhere near worth the value of what we got. Now there is a lot more here versus what we got in the previous DLC. So you have your main story, which is probably going to run you 3 to 4 hours, depending on how fast, like how well and efficient you can beat the bosses. But yeah, probably 3 or 4 hours you can beat the main storyline. Believe it or
For,
not,
wait, for the first DLC or this one?
this is for the second DLC. This is for the DLC that I just played.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so only 3 or 4 hours of actual story content. You have probably 3 to 6 hours of side content. There are more side missions
Okay.
in this game than there is like main story missions, which I thought was kind of weird. The side stories are good though. They're serviceable. They're fine. The only issue is like it's a new town. It's new NPCs. It's new characters that you're being introduced to. So when you get these really emotional cutscenes from these side missions, it doesn't hit right because I'm like, I don't know this person. Like if this was with another character like that I've spent 100 hours with, then this would be a very, very emotional scene. But unfortunately, it just doesn't hit that mark. It just doesn't hit that mark. But yeah, you have the side content, you have the main story content. They did, and this may raise or lower my score. I'm not really sure, but they do have another mode called Kairos Gates. And it seems to be kind of like a roguelike mode, where you have 20 floors, and each floor is a set of 3-round battle arenas. And you have no health potions for any of your floors that you're fighting on. You have to fight through them without healing, which can get difficult, I would assume, on later floors. And then as you complete floors, you're getting power ups. You're getting health regen power ups. You're getting health boost power ups. Your basic general random power ups that you can get and hold on to for the length of your run, like any roguelite. So I haven't really jumped into it. I played 2 of the floors just to kind of get a taste for it, but I just wasn't in the mood to just do combat rooms at that moment. But I am enticed to give it a shot because in order to unlock the ultimate weapon in the game, you have to complete all 20 floors in one run. So I may give it a shot and see how it goes. And I mean, hopefully I like it and it raises my opinion on the DLC. And it makes the $20 a better value. But if I don't enjoy the roguelike mode, I'm just gonna say that it's gonna be a sad finish to Final Fantasy 16 because we're not gonna get any more content after this. So
well, I hope the roguelike part is better than for you.
Yeah, and I think Chris, if you like bought the season pass, you get a little bit of a discount, and then you're able to play both DLCs back to back. I think it'll feel a little bit better. I do. I think it'll feel like a better value.
I've noticed that when it comes to single player games that are bringing DLC later down the line, I never get around to playing it. Like, and it's not because I don't want to. It's just there's so much other stuff, and time is so limited. It's like I'm trying to remember the game that that I really got hooked on early on in like PS5. It was an Ubisoft game, and it was kind of it was Assassin's Creed E, but it was like it was set in like Greek mythology, and I'm trying to remember the name of the game. I'm sorry, it's going to bother me if I don't figure it out. Let's see, Immortals: Phoenix Rising.
Oh, so, that's right. Yeah, I played the hell out of that too.
I loved the shit out of that.
It had no business being as good as it was.
Exactly. I looked at that and I was like, "Oh, this is a B game at best." And I played it and I was like, "Fuck this! I'm going for the platinum."
That game
was a great game.
That game did environmental puzzles better than most. Better than most. Those were really.
And the combat was really fun. Like, it was. I just absolutely loved it. And I actually bought the season pass for that game. And the DLCs came out, and I never played them. And it's not because I don't love the game and I don't want to go back to it. It's just because I just haven't gotten around to it.
That should have been that should have been your backlog right there. Play the DLC for Phoenix Rising. You can get a mulligan.
That's number 4. That's number 4.
Okay.
Number 4.
Okay.
Right. We're gonna put that on the list, Travis. We're gonna make it number 4. God damn you. Cool. Anything else on your end?
That's it on my end. What about you, bub?
So first I want to talk about Beat Saber a little bit.
I like Beat Saber.
Everybody knows how much I like Beat Saber if you listen to the show at all. It is easily my favorite VR experience. And so at work, we have so I work for a car company and a car manufacturer. And we have in the building, in the IT building, we have a dealer lab, and inside the dealer lab, it's actually networked out to mimic what an actual dealer's network would be. They're on like an external VPN and things
Right.
like that, and we have all of the dealer software that goes into the we pipe it all into the servers there. Well, that was great, you know, back in 2017, 2018, whatever. We're not really using it for that anymore. So we had in there at the time, we had VR set up because there was a virtual experience for one of the vehicles. Like you could actually
Okay.
sit down, put the headset on, and they had like the old Vive, like the very first one. And you sit down and and it's like you're sitting in the car. You can interact with all everything in the car. Um, well, the VR is still there, and you know, a couple of the one of the project manager leads and one of the other managers was like, "Hey, we need to change the space into like a team building area." And
Okay.
I'm like, I am on it. So I was like, okay, so we're going to download Steam. I'm going to set up a Steam account for the dealer lab, and I'm like, and I'm going to fucking contribute $30 to download Beat Saber. So let's
There you
do this
go.
shit. So I've been trying to work out all the details and so I could create essentially a manual for people that or just want to come up and do like a team building activity or whatever. And I want to do things like song of the day and get people to throw up high scores and things like that and make
Okay.
some
Yeah.
competitiveness in the office, right? So on Wednesday, I had my team go in and play some Beat Saber, and none of them had ever played it before. So it was a pretty good experience. Like probably about seven of them came in, and
Yeah.
everybody did like one song, and they got to put it on the headset and you know figure out and just kind of figure out how it all works. There
Nice.
were two people that I had to explain. There's an arrow in the box. Slash in the direction of the arrow, and he's like, and they're just sitting here slashing down every time. No, the direction of the arrow. What arrow? The direction of the arrow.
That arrow can be
Um,
hard to see. So like if it's your first time, like I
yeah,
actually went back and played. I popped on the headset and played some Beat Saber. I want to say 2 weeks ago, and it took me a couple of seconds to be like, okay, wait a minute, what does it look like again? And like
yeah.
I had to reconfigure my brain.
Did you know there is now a Dragon Force song on Beat Saber?
That sounds.
On the original soundtrack, there's a Dragon Force song.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But yeah, some of the stuff that they've released and as in the extra packs, there's like 8 free packs that are available now for the game. And one of them is a Dragon Force song. I tried it like I play the game on expert usually.
Yeah.
I tried the Dragon Force song on hard and it kicked my ass. Like it is really hard. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. I just thought it was really cool. Like got that going and one of the other managers was there. He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to do this now, and would you mind coming and help me out?" And I was like, "No, I'm making the document, so I don't need to help you out. Like, let me finish making it, and then you can be my guinea pig. You just tell me if I'm missing anything." So that was that. Let's see. More Helldivers. God damn that game. Talk about a game that doesn't that has no right being as good as it is. Like $40. Like I almost passed on it $40, and I play it like almost every night now.
so
It's
far
just so
my
much fun.
so far my prediction about my experience with Helldivers has completely come true. I predicted that I was going to buy the game. I was going to play with you guys immediately one time, and that was probably going to be that was probably going to
Dude,
be it.
we're playing it, man. Just come play.
I just have to like identify you guys being on.
Yeah, yeah. I'll we're on pretty much every night. But like the Destiny crew is on every night.
Yeah,
I'm playing mainly playing with Omer, his buddy Dave, and Greg Nogrick.
yeah.
So the four of us are playing a lot. Yesterday Jamal was involved, and Jerry plays a lot. So yeah, it's a good time.
I'll pop on
Um,
in.
And then the other thing I played this week is I played more Deedlit. And I know I realized I didn't really go into much detail about this game
What is this
last week.
again?
So Deedlit. So Record of Lotus Wars, Deedlit, and the Wonder Labyrinth. That's the whole name of the game. It's a pretty long name, but it's essentially it's a Metroidvania that takes place in the Record of Lotus Wars universe. And I don't know anything about that universe, to be honest with you. I bought it because it is a great Metroidvania game. And one of the the key features about the game is that Deedlit has a spirit that follows her around. And it could be, you can have one of two spirits. You can have either the wind spirit or you can have the fire spirit. And did you ever hear of Ikaruga?
I did, yeah.
It was a shmup, like way back, yeah. And like they had like I think it was black and white bullets, and you could flip the ship.
Yep.
And if you flip to black, it was like you absorbed all the black bullets instead of getting hit by them.
Yep.
Very similar. So in this game, like if there's projectiles or anything that are fire based, if you're using the fire spirit, you just absorb them, like nothing happens.
Okay.
And then you can instantly flip from the fire to the wind spirit, and then same thing. The wind attacks won't hit you.
That's too much thinking for me for platformers, man. That's way too much thinking.
It gets more. There's more. So while you have the spirit equipped, the spirit gains power. The more you do without being damaged. So as you're attacking and as you're defeating enemies, your spirit is gaining power, and it starts out at level 1, and it can go to level 2, and then it goes to level 3. So so the goal is to have both of your spirits at level 3, so if you have the fire spirit and you're attacking enemies, you're charging the wind spirit. Like it sounds backwards, but that's what's happening. So as you're attacking with the fire spirit, you're actually powering up the wind spirit, and vice versa. If you get hit, if you flip to the other spirit and that spirit is level 3, you start regaining your health. So that's the hook to keeping them at level 3, because that's how you keep your life up. So it's an interesting mechanic that does take some time to get used to.
Sounds like it.
But I'm getting near the end of the game. I think I've got my map coverage right now is about 90 something %. And I think I'm at like the second to last boss room. The problem with this boss room is like you walk in and the enemy that like talks to you and says, "Let's give you one more test before you move to the final area," or whatever it is. And you essentially have to fight every single boss that you've ever fought already in that room back to back to back to back.
You were just talking all kinds of stuff. You were making me so hot right now, Chris.
And then so the in between, like after you defeat one of the bosses, it'll throw you like recovery items so that you get some life back, and you power up your spirits again, things like that. Get your magic back. But I've tried this 3 times, and I feel like I'm always getting to the last of the bosses, and she always kicks my butt, like, because she's completely random, and like there's not much of a pattern. And all of her moves are elementless, so there's not a way to absorb them, and they have a very wide spread, so it's trying to dodge all that shit while it's coming at you. And I think I've tried it like 3 or 4 times so far, and I've gotten to her every time, and with very little trouble, to be honest with you. And then she just beats my ass, and I'm like, oh man. So it's on my list of things to finish this week, hopefully. But it looks like I think I have 2 bosses left, and I'm almost done. But it is a fantastic Metroidvania, and I highly suggest it to anybody who's into that genre.
A stunning endorsement, Mr. Riccio. Anything else you're playing?
I think that's it at this point.
Think that is it.
Yeah. We do have some news, though. You want to talk about some news?
Do we have news?
We do.
Is there news?
You want me to go through it?
Let's see. I'll go through it. I'll look at it. I may add and remove some stuff from this list, Chris. So please bear with me. So first off, we have some TV news. Golden Axe getting a television show, and it's in the works over at Comedy Central. Interesting. And it's going to be an animated series.
I think the fact that it's Comedy Central is what really got me wondering what was going on. Like,
right.
really? We're gonna do Comedy Central? All right, cool.
Right. If this was like on
So
Showtime or something like that, I would be like, what are we doing here? But like, so let me go ahead and read an excerpt real quick. So it says, described as a hilarious and loving homage to Sega's 1989 video game series, Golden Axe, from executive producers Mike McMahon and Joe Chandler, follows veteran warriors Axe Battler, Tyrus Flare, and Gilius Thunderhead as they once again battle to save Uria from evil giant Death Adder, who just won't seem to stay dead. Fortunately, they have time and the inexperienced and underprepared Hampton Squibb on their side. This sounds great.
I will absolutely watch it. So I don't know if we've ever talked about my relationship with Golden Axe. When I was in high school, and it was essentially just Genesis and Super NES. My daily routine ended up being I would wake up, shower, get ready for school, come downstairs, like have some breakfast, and then I'd play through Golden Axe.
My man.
And I knew Golden Axe took me about 25 minutes to get through. So I would make sure that I had enough time, go through Golden Axe, grab my stuff, and then walk to the bus stop. And it became, just like a staple of my gaming life at the time. So hearing that there's going to be an animated series that's on Comedy Central and it's going to be like a comedy, I'm all about it. Like, let's make it happen. I want to see that how that all works.
Yeah, I would assume it's like a super mature show, raunchy, possibly. Like that's kind of what I would like.
I mean, if they're gonna keep Tyrus Flame in that bikini, it probably will be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like,
yeah,
that's a thing.
Yeah, I'll be interested in some like the early shots of what this show looks like. It'll be interesting. Other show.
Do we know what else they've done? Mike McMahon and Joe Chandler.
That's a great question, because there's no better way to tell whether or not a show's going to be good whether than to check what they've done previously. So,
creator of Star Trek Lower Decks. Oh, I'm fucking on board.
You're in.
I am in, man. Have you watched Lower Decks?
No, I don't watch Star Trek, man.
Oh, dude, it's fucking hilarious. It's so good. You should definitely check out Lower Decks, even if you don't like Star Trek. It's really, really fun.
Sounds 100% on good. Board. Hey, Chris, you want more TV news?
Sure.
All right. It happened today, just a few seconds ago. Not seconds, but like minutes, maybe like hours ago. But that great show Fallout on Amazon.
Oh yeah.
Already
I've been hearing a lot of good things. Renewed
for season 2 already. How about that? Nice. It only took them about 3 days to get the renewal. Yeah, it's fantastic, man. I'm excited for you to check it out.
The project manager that I was telling you about that was helping me out with the Beat Saber stuff, with the VR stuff. He's never played a Fallout in his life, and he was telling me that I needed to watch it. I'm like, really? You're telling me? And he's like, yeah. Now I'm looking at the Fallout games, and he's like, yeah, I just picked one up, and I was like, which one? And he said 3, and I was like, good, that's the best one. Play that one through first. So yeah, it's getting a lot of good press. From what I understand, they made it. And you can correct this if it's wrong, but this is kind of what I've heard. Instead of trying to capture any of the story of the Fallout games, it's just putting it in that world, and it's like it's a different vault and different people and things like that. So, I dig that idea.
All right, moving on. I'm going to make this our final news article, and I'm not too familiar with this headline, so I'm just going to read this directly, courtesy of IGN, written by Wesley Yinpool. The former boss of Blizzard Entertainment has suggested a post-purchase tip feature that would let players give $10 or $20 extra to the developers of special games. Mike Ybarra said that he often felt that upon completion of a particularly enjoyable single-player game, he'd like to give more money to the devs because it was, quote, worth more than my initial $70, and they didn't try to nickel and dime me every second, unquote. He also mentions games Ybarra mentioned that has sparked such feelings included Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2, etc. I don't need to read any more of this. This is stupid. Like he even says, I quote, I know most people will dislike this idea. Tipping needs to go away universally. Like, we should not be tipping in restaurants. We should not be tipping in bars. We should not be tipping video game developers. Like, you should not be tipping anyone. Like, if they're independent people that are out there making a name for themselves, yeah, I can see like some sort of tipping or subscription structure or something like that. But like, you're not going to get any sympathy from me, Mr. Activision or Activision Blizzard.
Blizzard.
You're not going to get sympathy from me because you don't want to pay people a better wage. You want the consumer to foot the bill. And we're already footing the bill by buying your game. So
I am going to be devil's advocate here. Because I don't think that's what he's asking for. Like that's I think what he's saying is that there are games that have moved him to want to
is he
support
saying the
that
option
developer
should
more.
Is he just saying the option should be there?
Yes, he's just saying the option should be there in case there is a situation where, hey, I really want to support this developer, so I'm going to do that.
Yeah, but okay, so continue with your point. Go ahead.
So and here's kind of where I go with this, and in reality, especially when it comes to indie developers, there's already ways to do this. Kickstarting something, because for instance, shit, Bloodstained. So Bloodstained, right?
Gotcha.
When I kickstarted that, you have the option as someone who's kickstarting it to pay just the value that gets you the game, or more than that. And I feel like that's me supporting. It's not really a tip, but it's me giving them more money than I need to get the game because I want to support what they're doing, and that's it's essentially tipping. Patreon. If you have an indie developer that you really want to support, you can support them on Patreon, right? Like this show, it's like people are tipping us. That's what they're doing. Like they're supporting us through Patreon. They're giving us money that they don't have to give us.
Right.
Right.
But we're also
That's essentially what that is.
We're not EA. We're not Ubisoft. We're not Activision Blizzard.
That you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So I do feel that that's where the issues come in, because it's someone from a company like Blizzard that's saying it. But I still don't think it takes away from the idea of, let's help out, let's show support. But my concern would be that if that was going to happen, it would have to, like, I would want to make sure that developer salaries continue to go up, and the tips went directly to the developers.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to do. So I'm not against the idea. I just don't think the logistics are there to make it viable.
I don't think this guy's comments are in good faith.
I certainly can't argue with that.
I don't think they're in good faith.
I'm not going to argue with that.
899 jobs across Infinity Ward, Blizzard, Sledgehammer Games, and Toys for Bob were laid off 2 months ago. So, and you're going to have someone who has an interest in that company to sit here and tell me that we should also pay them more out of our pockets? No, this is it. Even if you can fairly play devil's advocate and say that, okay, well, he's just saying that the option should be there. He's saying the option should be there because he doesn't want his kind to fucking pay, living wages or keep up with inflation or whatever the case may be. This is horseshit.
I certainly cannot argue with that reasoning. But and what I would say to that is, I feel like it's better used for indie developers, and there's already
Agreed.
avenues to do that.
Agreed.
And
Yep.
it should be a situation where if you are interested in supporting indie developers, you should be exploring those avenues.
Who was the developer that tried to kickstart something? There was
You mean a AAA developer that tried to kickstart
kind
something?
of like, yeah, kind of like on the cusp of AAA. Ah, God, it's at the tip of my tongue, and I can't remember who it is. Hopefully, someone in the comments will know exactly who I'm talking about and just pop it in there. But I can't. I'm not going to remember it, so I'm not going to trouble myself. But yeah, overall, I think this is horseshit. It's it's just teeming with corporate uh PR speak.
Yeah.
Like he's
I mean,
just
again, I can't really argue with you on that. Like, I don't know what this guy's, what his motivation is there,
yeah.
but the way he says it, it sounds like he's just, I'm expressing my love for these games, but he's also a corporate mouthpiece, so it's really hard to
Yeah.
take him, at face value.
And
Um,
that Christopher Riccio is news.
so there was one other thing that while we were looking at the news that Jeff had picked out. Thank you, Jeff, for picking out the news.
Oh, was that?
Um,
Let's see.
the stuff that was in the document was from that Jeff picked out, yeah. But
Gotcha.
one of the articles was discussing um, Sony and some of the things that they're doing with PC. And while they're talking about doing trophies on PC games, that's great, cool. But one of the things that it pointed out in the article was that Sony is still looking into doing making it so PSVR natively will work on PC. And as someone who I know you have an Oculus Quest,
Mhm.
um, if a PSVR started, if they opened it up so that it worked on PC as well, do you feel like that's something that you would be interested in buying as a consumer?
Would I be interested in buying PSVR if I
Too.
could hook it up to Steam?
Yes. But it was so that it worked with both PS5 and PC.
Right. I mean, if I didn't have, obviously, if I didn't have one already, I would say it would be a reason for me to talk myself into it.
Hmm.
Like that's the only way I can explain it. Like if I was like trying to push myself over the edge to spend the money and I'm
Yeah.
looking for reasons, it's like the reverse nitpick. I'm looking for stuff. I would find something like that and be like, yeah, that's a benefit.
Yeah.
And
I'm interested in
I
that.
say
So,
that, I say that, and
mhm,
I've never hooked up my Oculus
to PC.
to PC ever.
Well, now it's wireless.
Still,
You
never
know
done
that,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've actually used it several times for PC VR. But I would certainly rather use the PSVR 2
Hmm.
because right now I have the old Oculus Quest 2. So
It's the
like
same.
lower
Yeah.
res, that kind of thing. So I certainly think it would be an upgrade from what I have. But I'm interested in this. So I'm curious, like listeners, if you have any feedback on this, like if PSVR 2 they open it up to use for PC, so you can use it for both. Is it something that you would be interested in buying? So
I
let us know.
just after having a Quest, I don't know if I can go back to not having a wireless VR headset. Like I don't care how good or how much improved the visual fidelity is going to be for the PSVR. I don't need it that much when I could just jump up, pick up my headset, press start, like turn the power on, pop it on my head,
Hmm.
and I'm ready to go. Like no wires, no setup, no BS. It
Yeah,
is no frills. It is straight up. Put your headset on and go.
yeah,
Um,
that's valid.
yeah, I gotta have that. But if I was only interested in the PSVR for my VR, yeah, I think that would be the PC Link would be a reason for me to want to get it.
Nice. All right. Well, I think that is our show, sir.
Yeah.
short one. But we hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please tell a few friends about us. And I was about to say, and if you're on iTunes, please leave us a review. That was the old show. Please like, subscribe, and comment. All of those things really help us, and we love interacting with you. So if you leave us a comment, I'm sure we will, comment back. Check out our link tree. It is right down below, and it's at interactivedistractions.com, and it will lead you to our Discord where you can interact with us more. And if you want to support the show, you can check us out on Patreon. And that is it. So until next time, my name is Chris.
I'm Travis.
Player Games, and we'll talk to you next week.